Hey guys, it's Ben again, back with page 2 of Stupid Girl. So I have done a little bit of work. This actually up here is from a previous, it was going to be the gunfire coming from panel 2. But yeah, there's a lot of panel breaking on this page, which I'm not sure if I'm going to keep or not. But again, I'm trying to be really creative with, I'm trying to push the panel layouts as far as I can go. I don't know why this keeps popping up. It's a good channel though. Robin Bancroft, Rob Arnold, and Michael Bancroft, Replicator YouTube channel. They talk all about CG, Comicsgate. A lot of really good stuff. They're from Australia too, which is cool because they stream at really strange times for the West, for America, Canada, etc. But that's really good because sometimes I'm up late and I don't really have anything else to watch. I don't know why that keeps popping up, so I apologize if you keep seeing that over and over. I might have to just close the tab. But anyway, here we are. And I brought up the previous version of the page once again, just for quick reference. That's what it looked like. It's pretty much the same layout as you can see. I've got the widescreen with the explosion. I've got the firing, but this is totally different. This is going to be, as you could see, just the gun. I think that's going to work out better. The coloring is going to be a lot better, trust me, and that's what I'm going to be showing you guys today. It's going to be a mock-up or a color rough, which is where I'm just going to as quickly as possible lay down colors, really dirty, really messy, just to kind of get a feel. Like, do I want it to be blue, orange, red, green? What kind of bounce colors, what kind of rim light, just get a feel as quickly as possible, and it'll help inform the actual coloring. And I'll show that down the line when I get to it, but since I have everything already sketched out, laid out, I'm going to just get into it because I think that's going to make a huge difference. I forget where I saw it. I forget where I picked up that tip or that trick, but I find that it's going to be really useful. And also, again, the background here is going to look a lot better because Pencil Plus is working a lot better for me now that I know how to use it. And so anyway, there's another look at that. And then here is what I've got. So there are some differences besides panel 2. Not a ton, but this is going to be closer cropped. She's popping off the panel. There's not going to be a bunch of city stuff in the background, which was a lot of work, and I don't really think it actually did the page a whole lot of good. So this is pretty much what it looks like. There might be another character because there's 3 goons, and they all different hair colors because that's their name. It's kind of like a Reservoir Dogs kind of thing, but I might add another one over here if I can get him far, maybe back towards the door, the entrance of the bank, so that his head is around here. And I would just pop in a 3D model of a mannequin, this Herc model mannequin, and I'd just kind of get an idea of where would his feet and head be, and then I'd figure it out from there. So what I'm doing on this right now is I'm going to do a color rough, and this is a very quick process. This is just to kind of get an idea of what's going on, and I'm going to do it. Let's see. I'm going to do it. Oh my gosh, I don't know which layer it should be. I guess I'll just start right here. All right. So let's see. What kind of color am I looking for? I would say I'm probably going to go for a green because she has like sort of like Medusa hair. That's why she has these rolling pins. If you notice, she's got these rolling pins. And that's because her hair is actually her weapon. And there you can see the background, the AO render of the background. So I can see kind of where to add in all these little details for things that don't render out with Pencil Plus, which I will be doing, but this is just a rough. This is over the background, or rather over this background, just to get a good idea of where everything is. All right, so I'm going to get a bit of a bigger brush, And I'm just going to go in here. So he's got, this is actually like a ski mask. So it's going to come over here. He's kind of got like a sweater. He's really buff. So it's kind of tight, but those are what this is what those lines are, these vertical lines. And he's kind of got an ascot. He's got like a sweater that's kind of tied up on his, I don't know why. I just feel like that's a good look for them. And they're all going to be wearing sweaters with the same type of thing on top, just different colors, and that's pretty much how you're going to tell them apart. So yeah, all right, so let's go ahead, and I don't think I have exactly her design really done. Like I had a character design, but I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time working on it. Not a whole lot more, because I do kind of like what I had, and it doesn't really matter. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. You can just kind of come up with a character design pretty quickly. Oh, and these guys, the thugs, they also have black leather or brown leather, I'm not really sure, gloves. So yeah, she's Magic Black Girl, so obviously she's black. But this is again just a rough or a mock-up so that I can see what I can kind of see everything as quickly as possible. Of course, I wouldn't be coloring with this pen. I'll be doing flats and all the layers and all that good stuff as well. So let's just see here. I don't know. Maybe these bubbles will end up being pink, covering her up clearly. We'll do, this could be kind of a porcelain or whatever it may be. This is water. So, forgive me, this is super quick. This is just to kind of get some stuff down as fast as possible. Here is the windows, or here are the windows, or whatever. And then over there is sort of like the tile background of her thing. All right, so that's kind of coming up there, and then we've got, let's see, we'll just go ahead and grab this for her hair. She's going to have one of those afros. I kind of pull that a little bit from like the way Todd McFarlane used to do Wanda, how he used to do Wanda's hair, which when you look back, it's so funny. I have this compendium. It's like Spawn issue 1 through 50. And it's so funny because it's like everybody loves Todd McFarlane. I mean, how can you not love Todd McFarlane, right? He's the best. But when you look back at his work, it's like you look at it and you're like, man, that's so cool. Like his page layouts or his panel layouts are awesome. His style is just second to none. But then you start kind of looking into it and you're like, huh, his eyes are weird. His feet are small. His hands are huge. You kind of pick out all these little things here and there, and they don't really make sense. But I forget what I was going with that. Anyway, so this is just something really quick. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. I have to work. I kind of have to work right now, so I'm going to get through this as fast as I can, and I'll just kind of pick it up later. But I wanted to get this done because this is really important, doing these color roughs. It really, and this is just a base. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much going to work this out with the base colors, and then I'm going to add what I do is I add darks, lights, bounce, highlights, things like that. I just add kind of the whole rest of the whole setup, I guess. So let's see here. She's holding the trigger up there. I'm going to give her a sort of like a brown jacket. I think brown and green, earthy kind of tones are probably pretty good. And these things could change. I'm going to give her some green green Daisy Duke kind of cut off shorts. And then she might have like a lighter kind of a thing. So I'm not exactly sure what the colors are going to be in the end. And the good thing, or one of the nice things, is that because everything's going to be flatted, it's really easy if I don't like the way something looks to just basically select it, go to the hue, saturation, and luminosity, or maybe in like Photoshop it's hue, saturation, value, but either way, and you just move the sliders around until it looks the way that you want. And you can add adjustment layers, you can add levels, you can bump up the saturation, you can add a color layer, you have all sorts of tricks and ways to make it look the way that you want. And once I have all these basic layers done in the color rough portion of it, I'm going to do a thing where, and I can't remember how because I haven't done it in a little while, but you're basically going to have all of the layers merged, and it's going to create a brand new layer that's merged, but it preserves all of the original individual layers. So it adds a brand new layer with all of the selected layers merged. I don't know if that makes sense, if I'm explaining it right, but you'll see it. It's basically a way to get a merged layer, but to keep all of your original layers intact. And then I'll just throw those into a folder and turn it off. And I'll just pretty much work with, oh man, this autosave is really nice that it saves, but it also makes you pause and kind of stop what you're working on for a second, which is rather annoying. I guess in the end, it's probably still the better way to go. So I'm not really sure exactly what all this stuff is at this point. I know this is his arm, and this is going to be a little bit where there's a lot of gray, there's a lot of these buildings in the background, and what I'm going to do, or at least what I'm thinking about doing right now, is using color holds. So that's where I will, or at least that's what I'm going to call it, is where I'm going to take the ink lines and I'm going to change the color of the ink. So instead of it being black, if it turns out to be green like I'm doing right now for these buildings out in the background, instead of the lines being black, the lines are going to be green. They're going to be a darker green than what the color is because it still should look like ink, but it's going to be on the green side. And that just kind of pushes the background even farther back. So one thing that I really am trying to be cognizant of, or I'm trying to really pay attention to, is planes. That's something that I learned from a guy on YouTube named K. Michael Russell. Shoot, it's not what I wanted to do. I guess that would have been this one. So let's just go ahead and replace color and bring that back. My bad. So she has gray, kind of a grayish hair, gray white, something like that. And let's just grab that again. But yeah, so this is that. And I may run out of time before I'm done. Oh my goodness gracious, this always takes longer than I thought, and I have to log into work. Fudge. Let's see, this would probably be done well as a bright green, at least for now, because her color is green, and that's going to be the driving force or the driving color behind the page. All right, I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. I got to log in to my work computer, and then I will come back. So 1 second, please. Okay, I am back and appreciate that. Of course, I paused there, so it doesn't, I don't know why I'm apologizing, but let's see. So planes are really important. Getting separation, and I think that's really, really what a colorist main job is to, of course, give it mood and help tell the story, but to really, help the artist out separating things, making planes. And Kyle Ritter, he does a really, really fantastic job. I would love for him to color one of my books eventually. Like if this one does really well, which why not? Um, I mean, who knows? But eventually down the line, if I could have someone of his caliber color who really knows what he's doing and has experience coloring over some really kind of major guys like Ethan, that's just, I mean, that would be freaking fantastic. So, but he does a really good job because Ethan's art is really detailed. There's a lot going on. And when you look at it in the end, like in the end result, and I actually joined Kyle's Patreon just because I like him and I want to support him. I like the work he does, rather. And um, yeah. Yeah, but he does a really nice job of that because if anybody else was coloring over Ethan, it might look like a kind of a jumbled, garbled mess because it's really detailed. I mean, and that's awesome, but like when you look at it with all the colors and the separation, it's beautiful. It's really, really pretty stuff. So I will make him maybe wear, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. See, it depends. Like if they have brown gloves and they have brown boots, if they have black, it's black. So I'm not really sure what this all is in here, and it doesn't really matter. So basically, this would basically be what I'm kind of starting with as far as the color rough goes. All right, so that is that. And then I'm going to add, what I'd like to do is I like to add no, actually, because this is just a color rough, I'm going to go and I'm going to make it darken. And okay, so that actually still needs a lot of work. But let's just focus on these right now. I'll say this is going to be more of a pink kind of a thing, and I'm curious if I did that. I kind of did make it a little bit purple pink, but it wasn't very bold. I don't think it was very bold at all. And let me think if I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the so this is what I'm thinking anyway. I'm going to kind of do it. Wow, that's crazy. That is some crazy stuff right there. Maybe that is not the right one. Let me try multiply. Let me bring this down to 50. That's probably a little bit better. Again, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to have all these layers preserved after I've merged them and kind of added that one merged layer to the top, which I'll just reference, turn it on, turn it off, and I can basically recreate this. But what I would do is I would recreate this in make this all, when I do the real ones, I'm going to make these all capital letters. So let's see. I'm going to, now she is going to be mostly in shadow and it's going to be pink. There's going to be a pink overlay or color over this to really make it pink. But these guys are green and most of it is going to be the primary color. Most of her is going to be like the bounce color. And this, of course, could change down the line. It just depends. But I'm just kind of roughing this in here so that I can see kind of what I'm looking for. And so this is that. And let's see, he might be a little bit more in shadow because he's back in the back. We'll see. All right, so there's that. Let's see. I guess I still need to do, and I like to grab colors from my little swatch so that it's easier to just keep everything kind of similar. I don't have to go guessing and just trying to kind of randomly, kind of like trying to randomly grab colors that match or are similar enough. No, these are exactly, the same. And then let's see. So that would go there. I think this will extend up to the top. So this is something where this panel 3 is extending all the way across the entire page. And I'm just going to do this, even though there's no window over here that would actually make this. I just kind of steal this from Capullo. I know why he does it, and this is not the proper way to do it, but this is still that. All right, so then I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to do this with screen. I'm going to grab a yellow because that's just kind of the basic, color there that we tend to use for light. And just kind of bring it in here. Let's see. And these can always be changed. So again, these are all on separate layers. Nobody's saying, hey, this is what you're doing right now, and this is kind of where it has to stay. No, not at all. This is just what I'm thinking about as it goes right now. So I'm just laying these in, seeing how I feel about it, and let's see, probably something like that. Now that I'm thinking about it, this one I think is gonna be better off like that. So let's go back to the correct layer. And this is it acts like a rim light, but it's really kind of not. And let's see, I think I'm liking this. I think that's looking pretty good. I think that's looking pretty good so far. And then this one back here, this is kind of where it's going to be pushed back, so it's going to be lighter. It's going to be less detail, less layers. I might not even go this far. This whole thing right here that I'm doing in the background, this might not end up being there at all. It's most likely not really going to be perfectly honest. So let's just really quickly grab this. I'm gonna knock it back. This is just a very quick version. I'm not even using a mask. I'm just it shouldn't be that bold. And then I'm going to call this light. The next thing I'm going to do is I can't remember what I'm doing. I'm going to just go ahead and do screen again. And this is bounce. So bounce. And let's see. So I'm going to do bounce. I'm going to use the green. I'm going to go back to my regular thing here. And let's see. So green. I'm doing green because I'm trying to keep the whole green. Oh, that was on that was on the eraser. So this is something that could definitely change. I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep it this way. But again, this is just to kind of help me with seeing everything and seeing if I like the way the colors look. So that'll be kind of in here. And I'm actually going to go back and sort of do the same thing. So there's that. Come back up to the bounce. Do that, do this, do it in her hair, and we'll do something like that. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to do and I'm not really sure if I'm gonna keep this or not, but this is going to be a rim. And the only reason for this is just to, let me see. I may or may not need this one, but it's just going to be used to separate her from the background a little bit more because she is the main focus. The next thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and add a color layer. And I'm going to basically put these guys all in a wash. And then I'm going to dial it back. And you can move this anywhere you want. So the light right now, it depends. The bounce probably is going to stay the same, so that'd be on top. The dark, I think this is probably a good place to have it. I'm going to call it rim color. And I can always do this as a separate, and we're going to bring the pink out in this one down here. And then the light coming back, and we're going to all right, so that is not really what I'm looking for. It might be too bright. Let's see. I might knock it back a little bit. And let's see. So I didn't do bounce on her. I'm probably just going to go somewhere different. I'm going to go with a blue and see how that works, or see how I like that. And this is, again, most of her is the bounce. So she's mostly going to be in this sort of a bluish kind of a tint. Not really sure why. It could be because it's the water. So things aren't really, let's see. Now this is something that I'm going to be playing around with, and I'll come back. I'm going to have to kind of stop it now. Otherwise, this could take a long time. And this would be something that I would live stream. Like, this is something that I would be like, okay, well, this is taking a long time. This is going to be a 2-hour live stream of me just putting in these colors and seeing how everything looks until I'm satisfied. But yeah, I don't really have the time right now, unfortunately, and it is a bit of a time-consuming process. So, you know, I don't know what kind of colors these are going to be. Probably an Escalade would be a dark kind of a gray or something, black, kind of just the way they tend to be. You're not going to see a yellow Escalade. And then this would be kind of a box truck that's sort of another kind of a grayish white, sort of boring color, which is fine. No need for these to be crazy. And then this is just the street. Should be darker than that. It will be darker than, I'll just make it darker. Right now it's the same color as the Escalade, which is not what I wanted, but that probably is the way it's going to be. These are pretty boring luxury vehicle type colors. do something like that. And so I'm almost done. Unfortunately, I would really like to just keep doing this, and I don't think that's going to work at all. That color is terrible. Something like this. And then these things back here, like this building is another building. This will be pushed back. It'll be color held. And we will see. But anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at the whole page. I'm going to kind of compare it to this. It looks quite, to me, it looks quite, oh, you know what? I knew what I was missing. Okay, so probably what I would want to do is I come down here to add glow. And then what I would do is this is really going to punch it up because this looks kind of boring. It looks rather, you know, there's not really anything. It's not punchy. It's like very boring. So yeah, what I would do is I'd come in here with this kind of a color with a yellow to really punch this stuff up, make it bright, make it punchy, because without this, it just looks, I mean, just really flat. It looks really, really awful. And I hate for things to, like this one really, 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 really makes it look nicer. Really punches up the color, makes it exciting, and it's a glow, obviously. But we'll see how it goes. And then, you know, somewhere around here, it's going to be all bright. And, you know, this is going to be, I'm not really sure. I might go for something in the dark side of like a, because this panel I think would work well. And this is just the side that's away from the explosion. So everything on this side basically would more or less be dark because it's the farthest side away from the explosion. So makes sense. Makes sense. And so with that, I think that makes it look a lot better. Makes it look a lot brighter. This is going to need a lot of work, this panel. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Plus, I'm going to be adding some characters in there to populate this city scene. But if we look at that, we look at this. So yeah, I mean, it's still not punchy enough. It's still, the colors are still sort of boring. The color holds are going to help. Some more of this other stuff is going to help as well. And what do I have here? I call this one highlight. So let's see if I add on the highlight level, I add something to her over here, if that would also help. No, it doesn't. That kind of makes it even worse. And let's see if I take this away. So it's looking better. It's looking better. It is looking better, but it's not there yet. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. This panel 1 really needs work. It needs a lot of work, but I think it turned out fairly well here. I'm going to be adding a lot of these similar kind of lines. I think it'll come together really well once it's done. And I'll make another video after I've really got these dialed in and I've got the other stuff. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about, and that would be the next step that I'd be taking as of right now. So, all right, so I spent quite a little bit of time working on this and getting it to a place where I feel I'm a lot happier with it, and I think this is way, 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 way better. Now, what I did was I referenced this Soul Saga. So if you look at that, and then you look at this, like it's not exactly on the same level. But you can see, if you remember what I was just working on right before I came back on this recording, mine was really light, really bright. All of the colors were like, you know, if you think about a mid-gray, mine were all on the lighter side of that. This is very dark. This is actually very dark. All of these images, I mean, that's that's supposed to be in the dark, but even something like this, it definitely is darker. So again, looking at this, I think this is pretty much spot on. I think this is really what I'm looking for. I might actually add another vehicle and put it way in the foreground where maybe you see either the front of a car coming this way or the back of a car going the other way. I'm not really sure, but I might add another vehicle just to kind of put something to frame this panel. I think that would look really cool. It would also save me some work from having to maybe draw like an old lady and a baby or something like that crossing the street in a panic. But I do want to put a couple of characters in here, and I'll probably figure out what colors to make. It'll probably be on the gray-blue side, sort of like the shadowy side of this. And that'll help them kind of stick out a little bit. But yeah, I basically just added different layers. I just kept adding layers and different, like for example, this is multiply. So that's the gun. I think that makes it look a lot better. This one is darken. So it looks like I can actually probably just get rid of that one. This is, yeah, okay. So I mean, I guess I don't really need that stuff necessarily, but these things all come into play. These things all build up to make everything work. This is on darken. This is on darken. This is on multiply. And then here are some colors. I may or may not even need those, but I don't know. I kind of like it without it, actually. I like it to be a little bit on the purple. And what I did was I was specifically thinking about this purple and green, because green is up here, purple is down here. So these are opposites on the color wheel, and that is specifically the reason why I chose those two colors, because they're complementary or antagonistic or whatever you may want to call it. But yeah, actually I think I might just take this one off. I think it looks better without it. I'm not sure if there's any benefit to keeping it on there. I think it looks better without it, to be honest. So is that the dark? No. Okay, but here's the dark. And you just kind of keep adding stuff to here. This is panel 1. It makes it look more purpley, and I like that. Here's panel 4 down there at the bottom. I definitely think that works because it was just too garish. It was too just freaking bright and pink. And then you've got the other layers that I've already shown. But for the most part, this is kind of where it is. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to get rid of that because I like the purpley color. So I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that. And then all I'm going to really do at the end, and then here's the rim. I'm going to get rid of it in some cases, but it does help things to pop out. And I'm not sure, I mean, it's not going to be on the door, but it's just good to have all this together. So what I will do, and I'm not sure where that option is anymore, but let's see here. Edit. Maybe it's under layer. Merge visible to new layer. So this is really cool. So now I can turn all of these off, and I can just basically have everything right on this merged layer. And another thing you can do is you can zoom way out, and this is a good way to see like how does it look at that kind of a level. So one thing I might say when I look at it that small is that perhaps these highlights are too bright. I'm not really sure if I want them to be that bright, but I do think this page looks pretty freaking good. I'm very, very happy with it. And I'm going to pretty much just leave it there. This is already a pretty long video. But yeah, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to probably just start coming in here and just working on it. And at this point, I can work on it in any order that I'd like. So if I want to knock out the completed, rendered, fully rendered panel 4, I can do panel 2. I'm probably going to start with those two. And then I'm just going to go here and I'm going to add a base. And as all of these are not really labeled, but I do the real ones with capital letters. I do the mock-up ones with lowercase letters, just in case. And I'm just going to keep doing, I'm going to do the actual renders. But since I know what I'm going for, I can just keep coming in here and saying, okay, so this was on darken, and you know, I can tell it was one of these. So one of these is going to get me where I want. And then I can just kind of recreate this entire thing, but go at it slower, more carefully, and really, really make it just look super fantastic. So probably one of the next videos, because these are kind of simpler, and I'm going to get reference for her holding the book, because that's going to be, believe it or not, that's going to be a little bit of a tricky thing to do. And I'll probably just get a photo of myself holding a book. I'm not even sure if that's really the way it would look necessarily, but it's in a mock-up, it's not a big deal. But when it's actually drawn, I really want her fingers to look like she's holding a book, especially because this is one of the preview pages. I want everything to be as good as possible, but I want the consistency throughout the book to be maintained. So if there's a place where I feel like, hey, I might even find a 3D model of a boot and then just put it in the right place, because I don't want to have like a terrible boot and then people are like, I love this page, but ooh, look at that boot. That's really weird. Like, I would hate for someone to do a review on the book and then point out all these little things that looks really stupid or really bad, where it would have been pretty simple for me to just spend a little bit more time, get some reference. And I mean, I have a pair of boots. I could just take a photo of my own boots. That would also be an option. But yeah, I'm going to start with panel 2 and panel 4 because they're definitely the easiest, again, aside from this. And once I get that drawn, then the rest of it is actually going to be pretty simple. But I'm going to recreate all these layers in the same order with the same colors, and I'm going to go for this. And I think these colors are really rich, and that's something that's really important to me. So in the color mock-up portion of this, there's no reason to... Now, let me also, before I'm done, let me just go ahead and compare it one more time. So let's see here. Let me get these kind of right next to each other. I'm sure the size is not going to be exactly the same, and that's okay. But so if I'm looking at these, yeah, the size is definitely not going to be the same. But if you look at these, it's the same colors. It's still mostly yellow, purple, and green. But hopefully you would agree that, at least from the mock-up, that this is going to be better than this. I just think this looks too boring. It looks flat. There's not enough contrast. It's not dark. It's not rich enough. And I don't mean dark. I mean, I do mean dark, which is kind of weird because I wouldn't normally think dark means bold and colorful. But I really, really feel super confident that a year and a half after this page, this one is going to end up just being a killer page, And then I'm going to have it re-lettered, and I'm going to post it on Twitter, and hopefully people start getting excited from this amazing page, and they're like, hey, keep an eye out for this guy. He's a rising star in Comicsgate. He's, you know, if he can pull this comic off at this quality, it's going to be something. Have him on the show, and all of that good dreamy stuff that may or may not ever happen. I'm leaning toward it's not, but I was just looking at Shane Davis's Inglorious Rex, and it's over $250,000. Now, he's 20+ year veteran of professional comics, worked at DC a long time, like Ethan. So they definitely, they have the name recognition. They're all over YouTube with their thousands of subscribers and whatnot. But, for someone who never worked at Marvel or DC or Image, I think if I can pull this off and make it just look like a freaking fantastic comic, that's a fun idea, that's a great IP, a great character, it's maybe it's appealing to people, I think there is no reason why I don't, not get lucky, but I don't achieve a level of success, a level of excess, a level of success that one can only dream of. You just want to give, put yourself out there, do the best work you can. Hopefully it's an IP that people enjoy. It's a story that's fun, that appeals to a lot of people. The art is good, the writing is good. And hopefully it's a success. But yeah, comparing page 1 or the original page 2 to the new page 2, I'm very, very, very happy with the way it's going. So I'll probably do a quick update after I've got the characters in here, maybe another car, possibly another goon, and that'll be a very quick update just to kind of show the progression from this stage. And then I'll do some videos working on this, getting the AO, getting the lines, doing the coloring, all my own inks added in there, and really just trying to build this page up. And yeah, looking at it, I'm really impressed. I gotta say, this is like this might be the prettiest page that I've ever worked on. And it's easy to kind of make a mock-up look good, but again, I think if I just keep the same style, the same layer setup, the same order, the same colors, which are all taken from this color swatch, there's no reason why I can't reproduce this and make it look absolutely gorgeous. So thank you guys so much for hanging out and checking out this long video. I hope it was informative, and if you liked it, please comment, give a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the notifications bell, etc. I really, really do plan on doing maybe 2 videos a month, 2 videos a week. I'm not sure. It depends on how much time I have, but I really want to keep this going because it's a lot of fun. The story's awesome, and I'm really happy to share it with everybody. So have a great day. Thank you so much once again. Take care.